and gentlemen, turn your speakers up. It's time for the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Turn up the bass. A podcast discussing all things AEW and WWE. Oh yeah! Let's meet the hosts. First, a man hailing from the hub city in Indiana. He goes by @TooSweetKyle on Twitter. The host, Kyle Gagliardi. And your co-host, hailing from the valley of Lake Tahoe. He goes by @JimTuck89 on Twitter. Jim Tucker. And last but not least, hailing from the cornfield somewhere in Indiana, the full-time part-timer, Ian Garavaglia. Turn up the bass. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram @PodOnTheMark.
What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I am your host, Mr. OTM Kyle Gagliardi, and one of my co-hosts is my good friend Jim Tucker, or as I like to call him, Dickie!
What's going on, Kyle? Got pretty excited. Pushed back away from the mic. Had to get back. Almost botched it, but we avoided it. Not only you and I here to discuss the Cleveland weekend you and I just had. We made one person very jealous continuously throughout the weekend, and that is the full-time part-timer @Ian Garavaglia. Ian, sup, dog?
Sup, dog? So this weekend, as you know, we have a group chat. We have many group chats, actually, of all of us together. I muted every single one of them because I was sitting at home doing nothing and watching the pay-per-view, obviously. But, yeah, so I'm glad you guys had a great time. I'm sure you guys will be telling all of your stories, and I could be jealous now. But I can't help it now, so it's okay.
Let's bring some good news into your life and remind you that the Royal Rumble will be the next pay-per-view that we all go to, and you plan on being with us, correct?
I do plan on being there.
You might live there.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
We might have a free place to stay.
Oh!
We'll see how
Tuck,
much space I
Gags,
can get.
Bogus, one twin air mattress, please.
That's what probably would happen, yes. But
Can we snuggle?
you guys can, yeah.
Yeah, obviously. What are we doing?
I was just asking if I could snuggle with Ian, but he kind of turned me down.
Sad. That was the sad part about all these trips. We're adults getting our own beds and rooms now. So
Hey, you had a couch.
we got to throw it back. Stiff couch, razor, paper thin front wall. Somebody was drag racing at 2 a.m. Fuck.
Airbnb wasn't bad, though. It was better than WrestleMania's Airbnb. I'll give you that.
WrestleMania's Airbnb was not bad for the
Some of
all
us
of LA's ghetto that you can
had to
afford.
sleep on a couch. Might have had dried semen.
Some of us chose to sleep on a couch. You were always a couch chooser. You chose the couch in St. Louis.
Yes.
You chose the couch in Mania. I volunteered in Cleveland.
I just assumed because I'm the youngest that I'm going to be put in the worst position. That's just my
Well, you're
guess.
a couch kind of like Couch Liarda.
Yeah. I'm a stomach sleeper too, so I don't even know how that works.
Weird.
We have bad backs. That's what stomach sleepers have. My back is done.
You got that right, Ian. Kine says couch won't be the only stiff thing at the. Okay. I don't know why I pulled up that comment because everybody's backs will be.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, true. That's a good point.
Yeah,
Very good.
right. Good recovery there, Kine.
Stomach
But yeah, if you didn't already know, you obviously do know if you follow us on all the social media accounts. We were in Cleveland this past weekend. It started off Thursday night where we went after it hard with our good friends from the Main Event Wrestling Network, the Wrestling Junkies podcast. We got to meet them in person for the very first time.
Hold on. It started Thursday morning. You and I, 5-hour roadie together. Well, wrestling theme music the entire way and a stop at Arby's. My first trip to Arby's in quite some time. Well done,
Solid.
Arby's. Yes.
Yeah.
Checked
Ian,
into the Airbnb. Timeline was great.
I'm curious on what Ian thinks. What's his thoughts on Arby's? He seems like he would be out on Arby's.
No, what? They have the meats. I'm a huge, give me a slab of meat, and that's a good dinner for me. I don't need no water. Just meat. But yeah, Arby's is very high on my tier list. I just have nothing around me, Arby's-wise.
Would you like to acknowledge Ryan Vogus' comment?
Tuck is hot. Rest in peace, Mandos. Gags.
Gags.
Yep.
Yeah, that's his acknowledgement of me. He knows I'm here. He got my name right. Dirk is asking us a question to start us off. Did Triple H buy out Jon Moxley's contract? I have not heard anything about that. I don't know about you guys.
I got nothing. I'm Twitter searching it now. I got nothing on my end.
Yeah. Dirk, what's your sources? Because I wouldn't trust Facebook pages, that's for sure. Just trust the On the Mark Wrestling podcast. Tuck, if you find anything, let me know. But before we get into our weekend, don't forget, you could support the show, keep the lights on here at the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast by going to our merchandise site, onthemarkwrestlingpodcast.com. No promo code this week, but we have some fantastic merch, including the Honorary Mark t-shirt, which is going to be a part of the OTM 400 subscriber giveaway. I just tweeted it out on our X account. So once we reach 400 subscribers on YouTube, we will give away that Honorary Mark shirt, and it does not matter where you live. We will pay for the shipping. I didn't ask you guys about that, by the way. Are we okay with
and
the shipping?
I'm gonna sweeten the pot here. Once we get to 500 subscribers, we're gonna mail a signed Rey Mysterio figure to one winner in the United States, unless somebody covers international shipping, which probably would be more than what the figure's value is. Figure value is between $75 and $100, but I have two of them. So, I mean, we're close to 400, so I feel like that's, a shirt is great. 500 will do Rey Mysterio. 600, Ian will align a meet and greet with CM Punk. So that's coming up at 600 subscribers. Thank you for that, Ian.
How about this? At 600 subscribers, that'll be my 24-hour live stream.
There you go. You heard it here, people.
We all did something.
So we have milestones here. We're at 343 right now.
And Ian will mail signed game used underwear.
Oh, you don't want that.
On the 24-hour live stream. Free
or feet pics if you're into that. We all have different things that interest us. But yeah, so at 400, Honorary Mark t-shirt, 500, signed Rey Mysterio figure, and 600, a 24-hour stream from our full-time part-timer, Ian Garavaglia. So we are at 343 right now, so we're very close to 400.
And shout out Great Brown Hope. He's jumping in the pile.
He also said he would give away some Four Loco swag too.
And that's trading at 400. 400 Loco.
Ooh.
When we hit 400, Ian will drink 400 Four Locos.
Oh, I'd be
Ian
dead.
would die.
It would get him out of the 24-hour live stream.
That is true. I could do that. I'll drink a Four Loco every single hour of the 24 live stream.
Yeah. The doc said he was just tuning in, was watching Breaking Point 2009 DX First Legacy, DiBiase and Rhodes, Falls Count Anywhere submission tag match. Huh. Interesting.
Throwback.
Very interesting. Tucky running out of room in the figure room. Yeah, Tuck, you sent us a Snapchat earlier. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, boys, inventory is looking great. I do have room here. If I take off the signed Kurt Schilling poster and the signed Ted Williams poster and move those to that wall, I can add one more row. That'll give me space for maybe about 15, 20 more. I'm busting at the seams. I've got 11 more figures on the way. So the Cleveland weekend went well for me, both in person and online. Figure collection currently sits at 82 WWE figures, 37 AEW figures, 5 multi-packs, 28 autographed figures. So we're in great shape.
And if you guys want to see Tucky's collection, I think the world deserves to see this because I'm very impressed with the setup. Leave a hand up emoji in the comment section right now if you want Tucky to post a video. I will raise my hand as well. But one last thing before we get into everything that happened this weekend. Don't forget, we are a WWE Shop affiliate. You see that QR code in the corner there right by Tucky. If you scan that QR code, you can go get some Summerslam merch, which is actually cheaper now than it would have been if you shopped at the store, which we did get to shop at the store. And we definitely got our fair share of merch. I know Eric from the Wrestling Junkies podcast, I'm not going to say how much money it was, but Ian, I will tell you it is more than a PS5.
I often don't get beat in the merch department. It is like the thing I save up for is wrestling figures and merch. And Eric Had a weekend. So proud of the guy. Glad to know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. You see people at these shows with 5 belts on. You're like, well, I'm not that yet.
We got 5 people raising their hand in the comment section now, so it seems like people want to see the setup you got there. And he's got Doc's got a question for you. He said, Jax or Mattel WWE action figures? For me, Jax.
Yeah, a lot of people love the Jax. I am current, modern, elite or elite ultimate supremes, the AEW line, and then I do dabble with some independent guys like Zombie Sailor, Heels and Faces. That's the Cardona autograph, and I got a CM Punk. I'm getting a CM Punk and Larry. Got that cool,
Oh, that's cool.
Shout out to Larry. Larry was getting some chants at SummerSlam, and I heard somebody goes, "Who the fuck is Larry?" I go, "You're obviously not a mark."
Dude, the row in front of us, were not into the product. They were Clevelanders they did have a good time, but some of the stuff you're like, damn, dude, I don't. Ugh.
They were fat shaming Solo Sikoa, which I know if Solo Sikoa heard that, he would absolutely beat the shit out of this guy that was sitting in front of me. So it was a very interesting experience. But sorry, Ian, speaking of experiences, we're going to talk a little bit about our weekend now. Thursday, like I said earlier, it started off with AIW, which was our first time going to an AIW show. And Tuck, we got a big surprise. We got to see the former World Tag Team Champions DIY, Johnny Gargano. Look at the shirt, the AIW merch right there. Shout out to AIW Wrestling. But how was it for you getting to experience that in a very cool venue, might I say, as well?
Dude, absolute intense wrestling. Was not familiar with the history and the story. They've been around. This is not an upstart indie. Production value was very high. I loved the stage display entrance. I loved the ring announcer, who was kind of playful host at times too. They had the commentators on the stage, and a really good job at the production of an independent wrestling show. I thought it was better than GCW's production, but GCW is not known for high production value.
It's a renegade
kind of. And to be so close to Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, the World Tag Team Champions at the time, mere feet away, when those are superstars that we could have been 700 feet away from on Saturday. It was awesome. It was fun. And they gave us their time. They were out there for a minute.
Yeah, they ran a later show, and we made sure we visited the concession stands and get our fair share of adult beverages. But Cage asked us, any wrestlers from GCW and AIW that you enjoyed? One that sticks out to me, Tuck, I don't know about you, was Eric Taylor in AIW, who also worked that Saturday show. He actually handed off his sunglasses and cell phone to Mr. Cincinnati on Saturday, but I thought he was a fantastic heel. I enjoyed his work.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. For me, it's Josh Bishop. I've been a Josh Bishop guy for a long time, and I got to see him in my trip to Indiana and Cleveland. I got to see him at Black Label Pro, AIW twice, and GCW. I got to see him 4 times. I saw him almost as much as I saw my wife on vacation. So I love Josh Bishop. Big, massive, has some charisma. I don't know, just he's a
tough guy.
He's meat, dude. I'm a body guy.
Tucky
I am a body guy. Like it matters to me. So and as Vogus pointed out, I'll pull it back up. He said the AIW street show was greater than the GCW show. I would put the AIW Thursday show as my second favorite show of the trip.
Oh, obviously SummerSlam's number 1.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes sense. I was gonna say on the indie scale, I would go Thursday AIW, Saturday AIW, and GCW 3, because the GCW finish with Matt Hardy and Nick Cage was just basically to set up another
straight ass. We'll get there, but the favorite part of my GCW.
We're not gonna get there.
Say it. What happened?
Favorite.
Tell us.
My favorite part of the GCW show was being able to catch up and chat with Vogus, a lot of the show, and we're drinking beer, and that venue was great for it because we could spread out.
Yeah.
And had a general admission area. It was awesome. So.
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about JCW, but the finish, Ian, it basically was just the main event was Nick Gage versus Matt Hardy. They were going at it, I would say, about 10 minutes, and then just randomly in the middle of the match.
Cardona started by coming out and telling Matt Hardy, he's too good for this. You're too good for the brand, for this brand. Why the hell are you here? Because Cardona is the general manager.
Yeah.
So in some way, he's trying to talk Matt Hardy out of the match. He's like, no, everybody loves this Nick Gage guy. We're going to wrestle. Gags?
Yeah, and they basically got stopped in the middle of the match. Matt Hardy picked up the microphone. He's like, I want to do this by his side. We'll face you in your return match at GCW Homecoming. So the match didn't even finish. There was no 1, 2, 3. There was no count out. They just stopped
finish
the match.
in a hardcore match.
Yeah.
They could start it over again. Somebody. It was trash.
The venue, like I said, do you remember the name? Was it Temple Live, correct?
The Temple Live at the Masonic Theater in Cleveland. Yes. It was awesome. Cleveland Masonic.
I was really impressed with just AIW as a whole to wrap up our indie conversation. I think if they ran some shows a little closer to us, even I talked with Jeremy Tillema yesterday, who is a referee that works for Pro Wrestling Ventures. He said if AIW came to the Chicagoland area, he thinks that they would be able to take over that scene because of their production value that you spoke on, Tuck.
Dude, it's a show. Like I felt like I was at kind of like at a TV taping the way they produced it. It was outstanding, and the all to deal with the tailgate party as well, and that much more dynamic venue, weather, people. You've got people that are tailgating and going to SummerSlam but don't care about this stuff. But there was all these people. I'm just very impressed with AIW, and
me too.
I'm going to tune in an open Saturday and they're running a show.
They're on Triller. Yeah. And I think they're at AIW Wrestling on social media.
At AI Wrestling.
AI Wrestling. Yeah. Not 2 W's, just 1 W there. But and Kind asked, didn't you guys get to meet a few cool people as well? Yes, we did. Thursday, we waited in line for Chelsea Green, and she was awesome. I got to say a few things to her. Tuck, you actually look normal in your pictures, so that was good.
I went 2 for 3 on good faces in over the weekend. I did get a picture with Josh Bishop.
That's a good one. Show it.
And that was Thursday. So remember the state I was in. This was at 11:30 p.m. So that's my worst face of the weekend. Hair's not outstanding, but I did go 2 for 2 in the free WWE meet and greets. Gags kind of stole my walk-up video by continuing to have a conversation with his, new favorite wrestler, Chelsea Green.
She reacted. She was happy. She was always on, too. That's what I appreciate about Chelsea Green. And Candace, a sweetheart as well. I asked her because it was the day after AIW. Why wasn't she there with Johnny? She said she was on mom duty, which, Tuck, you know about dad duty, so...
I'm fucking learning real quick.
But yeah, anything else from the indie scene? We've been talking a lot about our experiences, but eventually I do want to get to SummerSlam. But anything else that stood out to you? Ian, you got any questions?
No, I was about to say you did leave out my most jealous part of it. You guys met my idol for the podcasting scene, Chris Van Vliet, and I'm very, very jealous of that picture.
He was the host of the tailgate on Saturday. That tailgate was incredible. I wish that was an option at every SummerSlam type event. And he did a fun job hosting, and it was cool to meet him. And he feels like I just think he's like a genuine, loves it.
Yeah.
People he takes it. He doesn't take it for granted. Yeah. So
no, I agree. Yeah, Ian, we're gonna have to make that happen. You got to meet CVV one day.
Love to.
Vogus said, any update on that guy's arm we saw snap? I think the junkie said he's gonna be okay, right?
Dislocated elbow looked far worse than it actually turned out. Yeah. And that was Dex or Dez Royal.
Yeah.
Is it Dex or Dez?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
I saw him 3 times over my trip. He's the guy to watch along with Myron Reed. Dad duty is the best. I do agree. But it's not. It's not
Brett's
easy.
question: Vogus snapped a dude's arm.
Shout out to good dads. Yeah. Basically,
we'll go with that. Temple stopping by. He said SummerSlam was good, but not the greatest SummerSlam of all time. Interesting. Well, why don't we talk about that then? Let's get into
SummerSlam Saturday, baby.
SummerSlam Saturday, which, like Tuck said earlier, we were tailgating with CVV at AIW, and it led right into the pre-show happening right outside Cleveland Brown Stadium.
We're just going to gloss over the fact that the Dudley Boys were so over.
I pulled up the comment and you never acknowledged it. I pulled it up multiple times.
I'm not reading. I'm locked in on my.
Do you want to acknowledge Tony?
Oh, we got the tables multiple times. Thank you. A little disappointing at the IW show that we had to call the tables the doors. But we were over like Rover, 16,000 views on Twitter. Shout out to Bully Ray. 2 interactions. Got the picture at brunch when did you guys know that Vogus was going to be a Dudley Boy too?
No, but I should have put 2 and 2 together.
No,
they planned
Vogus and I planned it.
I just didn't know.
I think we're just going to be the tag team guys. You know,
I was about to say, who's Devon, who is Bubba?
We both went Bubba. I intentionally picked the black frames because Devon wore clear frames with tape. And then that's a line I'm not going to tell.
Somebody asked in their TikTok which one identifies as black. And then the response was Kamala Harris. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on in our comment section? Okay, then. Don't acknowledge that comment ever again. Tony said, agreed, Temple for me. 2000 and 2002 are still better. This one is probably a top 5 for me, though. 2 thumbs up on the Dudleys look as well from Cage, my IQ. So, yeah, let's get into the biggest thing that happened, because this is what's gotten everybody talking on social media. The OG Tribal Chief has returned. Put your ones in the chat. Roman Reigns returned in the main event of SummerSlam when Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa were fighting for the Undisputed Championship in that Bloodline Rules match. Comes back to a different theme song, but I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the in-stadium reaction and just buzz that was happening there, Tuck, because we talked about it. When you have open stadiums, it's kind of hard for noise to project. But I swear to you, it was deafening. I could not hear the person next to me when Roman Reigns' music hit. Tuck, tell me a little bit about your experience when the Tribal Chief returned at SummerSlam.
It was the biggest pop I have attended, and we went to a WrestleMania. Now, we didn't go to the WrestleMania that Cody won, and then KO and Sammy was a big pop. That was a big pop. Rhea when it was a big pop, but Roman Reigns returning, 25,000 less fans in the stadium. But the thing that Cleveland Stadium has that we've never been, Nashville has an open side. SoFi has an open air. So between decks, they have air. Cleveland was a big bowl the entire way around, kind of an old school football stadium. And I think that kept some of it in, but man,
good point.
Strap a rocket pack to the crowd, mega pop.
Crowd was hot all night too, I would say. I thought for a stadium crowd, that might have been the best stadium crowd we've been a part of, maybe other than WrestleMania, but that's kind of cheating because WrestleMania is, its own little thing. But Ian, you got the opportunity, obviously, to watch this from home. What was that reaction like for you seeing Roman Reigns return here at SummerSlam?
It was kind of weird. So once the music hit, obviously the crowd was electric. It was one of the loudest pops I've ever heard. But once he kind of came out, it kind of sounded like the crowd died off a little bit. But that was just like through the TV. That's what it sounded like. Did it kind of simmer a little bit in person?
It was just a constant buzz that was happening, at least in my experience.
I would say, ultra hot pop to like a lull as he's walking, and then when he hit Solo, the roof popped off again. It was here, boom.
Kind saying to the ooh-ah. Everybody in that arena was waiting for that. That moment might have been the loudest reaction of the show. But Ian, what do you think, man? Roman being back, it really makes things interesting for Cody Rhodes.
I like it. I don't think it makes it interesting, really, because he gave the acknowledgement in the ring. I think they kind of shut that book and Roman gave that hint saying, hey, listen, me and Cody are good. You got the title. I'm not here because of you. I'm not back because of you. We've passed. That's what I feel. That's what I'm
not here for you right now. And Cody, as he said, tapped the belt with a 3. I think we both deserve a 3rd. So I think that's a layer, but Roman's got some shit to deal with first.
Yeah, I think that's probably the direction he's going to start with now that he is back is go after Solo and the Bloodline, which then can lead to that Civil War match that we've been talking about at Survivor Series. But I do agree with what you guys are saying. It seems like inevitably we are going to get Cody versus Roman. And that's where I get worried, because I think in that situation, you're going to have more people behind Roman Reigns. And I don't know if that's what you want.
See, that's why I can't even get my brain to comprehend how they get to a third match.
Yeah.
Because I personally, obviously, I think and most fans are looking forward mostly to the Bloodline Civil War thing.
Yeah.
I think we kind of want Roman Reigns away from the Cody situation.
Well, and I think we're going to have that for now. And then when Roman takes back the head of the table, what next? When he decimates the family and leaves them behind, the thing that's going to be important is keeping Cody hot with feuds in the interim, in my opinion. Cody's going to have to get into some compelling feuds and some longer term stories and dominate the title. I feel like Cody might be the underdog at that point because people love the chase. You know what I mean?
Or what Brett's saying here is this is where we get Ian's, what he wants, the Cody heel turn. I mean, it's an option.
Give me what I want.
Do it the way Batista would do it.
No, thank you. There's people here.
Can we get him to do any impersonations on the podcast?
I don't know why you don't.
Yeah, why don't you?
No comment.
Shy?
No yelling down here. I don't yell.
Oh, there's nobody there though, right?
You can back off the mic.
Give me a sec.
You can't even give me a Chelsea Green. I mean,
I will not give Chelsea Green.
Cage says Roman won't go after Cody for a while with Solo in Roman's range, and The Rock coming back probably for Cody. And I think I would agree with that. What do you guys think? Rock coming back after Cody, maybe facing him at WrestleMania?
It all just depends on what happens with the Civil War. I think that's really what it comes down to. We're not going to have an answer yet. It's kind of that situation of when The Rock came back in the first place. We had no idea what was going to go on. We wanted Cody. That was when the whole "we want Cody" came down. But after the Civil War, that's when the questions can start being posted, and we could kind of start guessing answers. But there's so much story to tell within the Bloodline right now. I don't even want to think about Cody's situation and the title.
I think the chat's agreeing with you. Everybody just wants to see Roman deal with the Bloodline situation, stay away from Cody for the time being. And like Cage is saying too, WWE won't turn Cody heel, a.k.a. their cash cow with merch. He's basically the new John Cena.
For now, Roman's back, dude. He's going to take those numbers over quick. And you just brought up John Cena. Where is he going to factor in at WrestleMania? Is it John Cena, Cody Rhodes?
No,
like
John Cena Gunther.
I know, but that's a thing. Like that that's a marquee event that would get many people, which is a night one main event.
You have to go John Cena, Cody. I said it last time. You have to get there on his retirement tour, and then you'll.
It's gonna happen.
I was gonna say, imagine they don't do it. Then you're always asking, what if they would have faced each other? That would have been a question 10 years later.
Which is crazy to think about because that's a match we've obviously gotten before, but Cody wasn't in the spot that he's currently in now.
And Cena's never been in the spot he's going to be in next year. So that's fun, dude. There's so many matchups that you can think about. I hope he stays healthy for the entire year. I do think it's kind of cool that there's an ending, there's a start and an end point to it. It's kind of interesting.
Oh, it definitely is interesting. And Temple thinks Cody versus Roman 3 will happen in Saudi. When is that PLE coming up? Isn't that in a couple months?
Well, maybe not this Saudi.
Oh, next year Saudi maybe?
Next year, yeah.
Yeah, somebody in the comments section let me know when that next Saudi show is. Great Brown Hope says, or Kevin Owens, Orton, Cody join Roman to get rid of the new bloodline. Yeah, basically just like Team WWE versus the bloodline.
November 2nd, Crown Jewel.
So he's thinking this year then. Interesting. Kind said, for me, it's Rock versus Roman over Cody versus Rock. Rock can play the heel as if he controlled Solo and made him do all this shit. I mean, that makes sense, right, guys?
Yeah.
I'd say so, yeah.
Fair enough. Cena versus Cody feels like the money push that he who shall not be named would do. You wouldn't want it forced, but if they do it right and Cena is physically able to, I think it would be a good match.
That's the passing of the torch moment.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would agree with Temple, Cena versus Orton. Yeah, Tony agrees with that. That's what they really want to see. And happy birthday to the Great Brown Hope on the Saudi show. I hope you get some Saudi money and Four Locos going on there. Yeah, that means you got to wake up early and pop a Four Loco in celebration of Crown Jewel.
Dude, I love Saudi shows. Wake up, make a little breakfast, dude. Like mimosa PLE. Come on now.
Can we talk about the mimosa that Eric and the Junkies and Podcast Mom were drinking? It wasn't a regular one.
That was a mixed drink. That was not a mimosa.
Ian, their version of mimosa, I think, was just like juice, tequila,
orange juice and champagne. Orange. That's what a mimosa is. Theirs was not. Theirs had all kinds of shit in it.
Good. Like tequila, yeah. They were getting after it. When the podcast mom and the podcast dad get out, they live up to the expectations for sure. Great Brown Hope says Tucky gets it. Mimosas for AM PLEs is always a must. Yeah. See? Tony we gotta get Brown Hope to Vegas. Ooh. Oh yeah, I got some bad news about Vegas that I will tell you off the air. But Tony says,
"What a loser!"
Maybe Theory can put a Cena. Oh no, we don't need to see Theory and Cena again.
Let's go.
I'm sorry, I don't. That was the worst match of the WrestleMania that we attended.
Dude, big win for Theory. Really put him on the map. Did something with it.
Nah, not really. But yeah, so Roman Reigns has returned. Cody Rhodes retains, but Cody wasn't the only one that retained. There wasn't many on this show. Liv Morgan kicked off the show facing off against Rhea Ripley and retained her women's championship. And what happened was what most of us expected to happen. Dominic Mysterio ended up turning on Mommy and aligning himself with Liv Morgan. Overall, though, the match itself I thought was really strong. One of my favorite matches of the night. And man, I know we've spoken a lot of praises about this storyline, these past couple weeks, but we're just getting started with this. And that's crazy to think about. Like, Liv Morgan retaining, that is probably, Tuck, the biggest win of her career right there at SummerSlam.
This is what Liv was missing a couple years ago. In the Watch Me era, we were watching her do not much of anything more than basic average kind of stuff. And here there is compelling narratives and storylines because there's so many different directions they can still take it. I think this match came off better on TV because of the nuance, much like the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre match. I thought that match was better on TV than it was live. But I thought it was a great match. And the kiss, dude, the kiss. Cause like Dom was playing it where like, don't hit her, you can't win that way. And then like always shelling like he was actually supporting Rhea. But when you look back, you can look back at it through the lens of like he was actually protecting Liv too.
For sure. And we can't forget about Rhea with her shoulder dislocation playing into that. Gosh. That was a nice touch. Ian, I was believing it. I don't know if you were on TV, but
even on TV, there was a close up. I don't know what bone it was, but there was a bump. There was a bump there, and I was sitting there with a non-wrestling fan, and even she was like, hold on, I think that's actually dislocated. And I had no idea. I didn't have an answer for her at all.
We didn't either.
Is she starting to get interested in the product a little bit?
I think so.
Get her to a show.
Won't accept it. Will not accept that.
Get her to a show, and she'll be in.
We'll be an indie.
And even better, get her to an independent show. Like,
get indie.
Podcast Mom likes indie shows better, and Mista likes indie shows better.
More personable. I can see that.
Yeah, closer. You're into it a little bit more. Like they care less about the pomp and circumstance. I love the fireworks, and I love dancing to the intro. I love the production. They don't really care about that. They want meat.
Ian, respond the way I want you to respond to this comment.
Liv still can't win a match clean. Least believable champion ever.
Resourceful champion.
That's called being a heel.
Yeah, I was about to say. No, you keep hating her because she's a bad wrestler.
Hey, every time the Great Brown Hope starts hating on someone, they win gold. Look at LA Knight.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that blog that he just posted on the Main Event Wrestling Network is a very good read. Yes, he went into his 5 at 5, giving us 5 potential opponents for LA Knight now that he is champion. He did give LA Knight his flowers.
He goes, I love the comment. I'm finally going to give LA Knight his flowers. Here you go. But I will say with the match,
Is that Rizavalia?
Oh, the comments acknowledging Rizavalia.
Okay. Moving on. So with the match, I was going to
Full-time,
bring up
part-timer, full-time dog.
there were two different matches you brought up too. We're going to talk about it later. The CM Punk and Drew McIntyre match. There's a lot of moments in the show that I kind of understood why the crowd reacted a different way. Like when Dom stopped the chair shot, I heard the crowd actually genuinely PO'd at that point.
Right.
But you heard clearly on TV saying, "Hey, don't do that. You can't do it right now." So
It felt in the arena that he was protecting Liv.
okay, that's what
I thought the opposite at the time, but I didn't put two and two together like you're saying, Ian, where she would have got DQ'd if she used that.
Yeah, no, and I could see why spots like that could kind of be a little iffy, especially to the live crowd. But on TV, they did it very perfectly. The mic was very hot; you could hear everything. So.
And the way I took it was like Rhea doesn't give a shit about the title. She just wants to do damage. Like she thinks that the title's inevitable. Like she was willing to hit her with the chair. She didn't give a shit. And that's the way I took it. And then I'm like, oh, Dom's protecting Liv here, it feels like. And then you watch it back and you see the nuance and you're like, okay, they are.
You did watch it back then, Tuck?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was just as enjoyable on the watch back for me.
Same thing with WrestleMania. Like, I feel like you have to watch it back, and that enhances the live experience you had.
Correct.
And like,
you're connecting dots.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it makes me a better viewer. Like I'm always trying to improve my wrestling watching. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but like continuing to look for symbols and. But like you read stuff all over on Twitter, and you're like, man, I didn't even think of that.
Does anybody know what Temple's talking about here? He's commented a couple times. I wanted to pull it up. I don't understand. I'm missing the joke, if there's a joke. Tuck, you got anything here?
I am unfamiliar with anything about that.
Okay, fair enough. We'll move on. Kind says Ian and Braun Breaker have one thing in common. They both got that dog in them. Yeah, that was a quick one, but I think they accomplished what they needed to, Tuck.
Had double that time scheduled for that segment. had 12 minutes available and only used 6. It got it done. I didn't expect kind of a squashy match out of Sammy. I thought it was going to be match of the night. You know?
I mean, they just didn't have the time, obviously. Like you said, they ended up cutting it short. But I think the right guy won. A lot of people were surprised that 4 titles ended up changing hand at SummerSlam. I was one of those that got all the 4 title changes right, surprisingly. Ian, I think you were as well.
Me as well.
We didn't walk away as champ, though.
No. I am very happy that they did that many title changes because, again, Triple H, anything can go. There's not a limit to 2 title changes or whatever. And even I was falling victim to it last week when we were doing predictions. I said, well, I just had a title change here. I don't want to predict it here. Anything goes nowadays, so which is awesome to see. It's fun. While you're watching.
SummerSlam's kind of like that other hard reset. We think of WrestleMania as a reset for the WWE schedule. I feel like SummerSlam's kind of another reset. You try things in the summer, see what's working, and then you prolong stuff into the fall and you reset. And that's basically what we're doing here, and I think it's a fantastic move. Couple more comments here to pull up. Tony says Rhodes' entrance with his dog had to take up more time. That was a cool entrance, though.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pharaoh. One last ride, right, guys?
Shout out to Arn Anderson as well.
Oh, I'm surprised he didn't pull out the Glock.
and
we couldn't hear him.
We could not hear that in the stadium, so it did not come across well for us. The volume was on, but it was really low and not very clean.
Through the TV too, it was not loud. I will say that. I had to turn it up just a little bit.
What?
Pull out the Glock. Ray Brown Hope knows what I'm talking about. And yes, Kind, we are going to talk a little bit about Raw. He said Raw after SummerSlam definitely showed it was a reset. We're going to make this quick because I do have a few other things I want to talk about. We have 4 new champions, and we're just going to go down and say one thing about each match. So let's go to the United States Championship match where Logan Paul from Cleveland, Ohio, is the only person to ever get booed out of his own stadium, taking on the megastar LA Knight. He is our new United States champion, Tuck, and that was another huge moment in the crowd. Absolutely loved everything about that match.
It's so interesting to me that Logan Paul got the reaction that he did, and I think it just proves the mega stardom that is LA Knight at this point. And side note, Sam Holloway from Thursday's AIW show, I believe, was the security guard that Logan Paul gave knuckles to before going to Machine Gun Kelly. I think if you go back and watch it, I think you may agree.
Yeah, I might have to go back and watch it. Yeah, that was quite the moment, Ian. We talked about how you could maybe have argued in the past that you missed, the moment with LA Knight. Regardless, he still gets that defining moment here at SummerSlam. Right call, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think Logan Paul was the right competitor for LA Knight to keep up the love for LA Knight, because he was kind of that chosen warrior to take down Logan Paul, who had 2 retains before the match, and
2.
A lot of people genuinely don't like Logan Paul as a person in real life too. So it made it, but he's just really good in the ring, and I will respect him. And I think Michael Cole even said it during the commentary and said, "You may not like it, but this guy can go." So, and it's very entertaining to watch. And hopefully LA Knight, even after this title win, it's not one of those we want to see this guy get over, win a title, then we could blow off some steam from him. And No. He's got to keep us entertained, and I have 100% certainty he will.
Well, how about what the Great Brown Hope was saying in the blog? Do bring back the open challenge. Babyface champions with the open challenge are just terrific. And I think LA Knight would be the great guy to do it with. But Tony,
I would differ.
Really?
LA Knight, not a huge in-ring guy. He's decent, but what we like to tune in for is his talking. We got to get him into another really good feud, which I know that's hard to come by. That's asking for a lot, but I don't know who they're going to bring up to. I don't know
Santos
who's going to
Escobar, Carmelo Hayes.
Yep.
Yeah. They got options for sure, but I don't think this is a hot take by Tony. He said, Knight Paul was up there with Punk McIntyre for my favorite match of the night. Every Paul match I've really enjoyed. Yeah, he hit that move.
That's fair.
Flying to the outside of the ring that really popped the crowd. But let's talk about Gunther winning the World Heavyweight Championship against Damian Priest, which was my personal favorite match on SummerSlam. Tuck, you talked about it. It was the match you were most looking forward to. Obviously, Finn Balor is the reason that Damian Priest is no longer World Heavyweight Champion. But what were your thoughts on Gunther picking up his first World Heavyweight Championship win?
Dude, I became a bigger Damian Priest fan after that match. I bought his figure, high stock on Damian Priest right now. I'm into it. And then you watch the 24. Have you seen the documentary? It's awesome. Like I'm a Damian Priest guy, but the way they told that story, like he just looked up and watched the replay. Interesting way to do it. But then again, like, why don't they just always do that then? I guess in some stadiums the replay is not available to see, but like, I thought it was an interesting layer. Man, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley are like this power duo now, on this revenge tour, ready to wreck shit.
Towers of Terror. Terror Twins. There it is.
The Terror Twins. Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm into it.
Ian, we talked about it. Finn Balor, that son of a bitch, was up to no good, and he finally did it. He turned his back, basically started a new Judgment Day, which is pretty wild to say. What were your thoughts on the match with Gunther and Priest?
I like you said, this was probably, if not my favorite, tied for my favorite match. I don't really have a favorite on this card. They were all good. But like you said, Tuck, you summarized it perfectly. Priest got so over as a face. He was able to battle with Gunther and actually go at it with the chops, and I think it actually worked out in this
beat
point.
Him. Beat him. I don't know why he did the 2 dumb roll things to push him closer to the rope, but in the heat of battle, you know.
Well, and another thing too, what I liked about the match was when Finn turned his back on Damian, you could see like the emotion, like people are criticizing Damian. Why would you go for Finn there?
Yeah, but that look, dude, that look on his face when he goes for the chokehold, just nasty. Like, and you're like, go get him, dude.
Yeah.
I wanted to comment on that. Just that raw like attitude about it. I'm a Priest guy.
Yeah, that's fair. Cage says Damian Priest losing the title the way he did has made him more of a star than when he got the title. I think he is accurate with that
100%.
statement for sure. Tony agrees with you, Tucky. Said when Priest won the title, I didn't think he was the guy. but he really worked his way into becoming a top guy.
And Triple H mentioned that in the press conference too. Triple H is aware of perception. Yeah. He's like, a lot of people thought we were taking a risk on it, and we just wanted to give him the ball and run with it. And Gunther deserves a lot of credit for that too.
Yeah, and I saw Tony tweet back to us, during SummerSlam, and he said, "I'm a little bummed Gunther didn't get a clean win with his character. I felt like he should have won clean, though he still did choke Priest out." Ian, you got thoughts?
Yeah, I agree, kinda, but at the same time, this guy's about to have a great title reign, and he's going to be beating a lot of people clean. I can assure you that.
Randy clean.
He will do a lot of. He'll probably do a weekly challenge. Honestly, he would probably be the champion right now that I could see doing a weekly challenge, saying, "All right, come take it," and kind of standing there while guys like like a Gable comes out there, runs that back every single week, and just wins clean. He's going to be a notorious champion and dominant. I wouldn't be worried about it, Tony. And I agree a little bit.
Yeah, no, I do understand where he's coming from here, but I think that's not really the story out of all this. The attention's on Finn Balor and the Judgment Day and Damian Priest, so everybody's going to forget about this.
They had to get there some way.
Exactly.
They had to get that Damian Priest ball moving, and Gunther's going to be a credible enough champ to make us all forget about that, I think.
100%. And Kine says, "I've been a Priest guy since NXT. I'm really happy to see him get over right now and become a top guy in the fans' eyes, not just the company's." Absolutely, Kine. Cage says, "Priest using the instant replay to see Finn cost him the match was great detail." Yes, I didn't even pick up on that one.
Well, sped it up too. It speeds up the feud. It puts them eye to eye. We know exactly where they're at, which makes it interesting because without him knowing that, how many weeks would it take for them to get to the fact that Finn actually did it, and wasn't necessary. Trim the fat, keep the ball moving.
Yeah, for sure. Great Brown Hope, does Gunther surpass Roman's reign as champion? No. John Cena's beating him at next year's WrestleMania. Book it. You heard it here first.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't really have anything else to talk about from SummerSlam. Obviously, Nia Jax is the new World Heavyweight Champion, but we're a little short on time. So, boys, overall thoughts. Give me a letter grade for SummerSlam. Jim Tucker, you're first.
It's a 91 A- for me.
Okay, lower than I expected. Ian, what do you think?
I would have given it like a 94, 95. I thought it was like straight through the entire card. I loved every match.
There wasn't a bad moment on the show.
Nia Jax and Bayley, we didn't talk about him. That was an awesome match too. I loved that match.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate because a lot of people, it was positioned poorly on the card, where a lot of people were taking their breaks to go get food and go to the bathroom. But yeah, Bayley being able to power slam Nia Jax was incredible. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, I know I didn't get that pick right, but that's just another one of those feuds that's going to keep going, and you don't know, well, actually, you do know the direction of Seth Rollins. We will talk about that here in a little bit. We're going to get to Monday Night Raw, don't worry. But yeah, we really didn't talk about Drew and CM Punk. Probably my second favorite match of the night. What about you, Tuck?
Might be my first.
It was really good. We missed a lot, though.
Well, I'm a notorious screen watcher, so I was clued in on the
stadium.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're not talking about your phone. You're talking about up top.
Big screen. Oh yeah.
You can't hear when we watched back, there was a lot of verbiage in there.
Right, but I thought Seth did enough. Like, there were a lot of things that Seth did mannerism wise that indicated he was like the spot where he was like, no. Okay. And then as he turned around and was so showy enough, he made it. I thought it was communicated very well in a really big stadium. That's why I like
said Punk's bracelet is a championship now. Tiffany should cash in on it. Yeah, that a lot of people are like mad about that, but certain things just have that sentimental value to us as humans to where it could piss you off. I understand where CM Punk's coming from, but yeah, obviously for Brett, it was his favorite. Punk was able to hold his own with Drew. Yes, Punk looked great. I do want to say that in his return match to the WWE. I thought he knocked it out of the park, which is wild for a guy who physically does not match up. Good point, Brett, but I'm going to agree with Ian. I have it about a 94. I think it's a solid A. Just top to bottom, nothing bad on the card. And like we talked about, it's a reset. We're heading in a new direction. And like we've been saying as well, plenty of avenues to go down. So things are hot right now in the WWE, and it just carried on over to Monday Night Raw because we found out who the next challenger is going to be for Gunther. Triple H doesn't forget about what happened at King of the Ring, because it's going to be Gunther versus Randy Orton at Bash at Berlin. Ian, I'm not sure if you got to watch Monday Night Raw, but I love the fact that they are acknowledging the mistake that happened at King of the Ring and giving us this rematch here in Berlin.
Yeah, I think we talked about it at that time where it was, don't worry about the finish. Triple H is going to cover this up. It might not come for a little bit because there's other plans for Gunther, obviously. And now we got there. And I think this will be a good spot, too. I mean, Randy is... I think he's more over in the overseas locations than he is in the United States. I mean, we heard it at Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank was insane for Randy Orton. That crowd loved him. And I'm sure the Berlin crowd is going to love him as well. So it'll be a good match. I don't know. I honestly don't know who could win that.
Oh, it's got to be Gunther. It's got to be Gunther.
Got to be. I don't know. Could be enticing.
That's how you start off the title reign there, Tuck. Your definitive clean win over the legend killer Randy Orton.
Yep, I think so too. I think it's going to be a hell of a match. Let's see what Randy's got left in the tank. Gunther's going to take him to task. Can the elder statesman keep up with the Ring General?
It's interesting, too, because I think a lot of people were penciling in Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes to potentially be happening, but
eventually
they just said, the brand split doesn't matter again, guys, so come on over to Monday Night Raw, Randy Orton. But I get it. I mean, like we talked about, the King of the Ring mishap. Cage says allows them to not do the Priest rematch clause right away, too. Yeah, and now Priest can face Finn at Berlin.
Yeah, Finn. Priest has some shit to do.
Eyeball emojis. Kine thinks Randy's beating Gunther.
It's possible. Anything can happen.
It is possible.
Anything can happen.
It'd be weird.
Gunther's first reign after having the longest Intercontinental Championship reign is one defense and done.
Yeah, but he loses to Randy Orton. I wouldn't discredit him.
It's not a bad loss, but it's not what I think needs to happen.
Yeah.
But something I did not see happening on Monday Night Raw, and I don't think any of us really saw it coming, was multiple tsunamis as Bronson Reed absolutely destroyed Seth Rollins. You know, we questioned what's the next direction for Seth Rollins. Is he going to be involved still in that Drew McIntyre CM Punk feud? It seems like he's on a collision course with Bronson Reed, which finally, Tuck, you're giving Bronson Reed something credible to do.
This is weird. You know what I mean? Okay, so like you get it works. Seth is detached from the Punk and Drew feud for now. They think you want to give somebody a push, have him absolutely annihilate a top star. Kind of out of nowhere, they dropped the breadcrumbs early in the show. I did not expect the Seth Rollins stuff, and what was it, like 5 or 6 of a lot.
6, yeah.
What were they called again?
To see it? Tsunami.
I did, and I don't want to rain on people's parades, but I saw this notification the day after. Hold on. This is per Dave Meltzer. The segments on Raw for both Dakota Kai and Seth Rollins were to write them off television for legitimate injuries.
So Dakota's hurt again?
So nothing else
she
was
weighs
told.
like 85 pounds.
Don't talk about my women like that ever again.
What do we do? It's not a surprise.
So you think Rollins is hurt?
Well, that again, this is according to Dave Meltzer, and I did see other reports of it, but at the same time,
he was the referee at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I don't know, but I will say this. It also says WWE ran 2 storylines to cover the injury. However, Meltzer noted he hasn't heard any significant either issue, but Rollins could wrestle if needed because he's been medically cleared. So it might just be recovery time. It's not anything serious.
But they obviously are going to revisit that once Rollins is essentially cleared to go. But yeah, that'd be perfect. You take Berlin off, and then what's the PLE after? Is it
Bad Blood?
Oh, Bad Blood.
Yeah.
Bad Blood, Bronson Reed versus Seth Rollins. Ian, do you
Blood,
say no to that?
I love it. It makes sense.
Yeah, I don't like this, guys. Everybody's saying Dakota is actually injured. That makes me sad. Seth probably got her with the awful bump he took from the GTS.
It was kind of ugly.
Was it bad? I didn't really catch it.
He's kind of fell on his knee awkward. He just felt awkwardly.
Yeah. Nobody takes a GTS like KJG, I tell you that.
Well, you also
Mr. Cincinnati got to see me take a GTS, and he was impressed. Tuck was making fun of it.
Cannot confirm that account.
Yeah, we're not going to say the account. Don't say the account on here. Why are we giving Meltzer airtime on this amazing show? You know what? You're right. Fuck Dave Meltzer.
Wow.
Bad Blood is in early. I don't like him. He's a piece of shit. Cage Mike Q says Bad Blood in early October, and Brett says facts. So there you go. But yeah, anything else from this Bronson Reed situation you guys want to talk about?
I honestly thought this was really nice for Bronson. Like, the crowd loved him. Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say loved him, but they reacted to him.
They were into it.
One more time. Yeah. One more time.
Yeah, that's huge for him.
Well, do you think a little bit of that has to do with people are getting tired of Seth Rollins' character?
I was just about to say that. Maybe this is leading towards that heel turn. Maybe this is how they get there. But who knows? I'm intrigued more. This actually added on to the whole hate triangle that was going on before this, so I'm in for it.
Dude, and I've said it on this show multiple times. I am not a fan of Bronson Reed. I don't hate the guy. I think he puts on good matches. I'm a believer in Bronson Reed just from that segment.
Yeah.
He was essentially a nobody on the card, Tuck, and he just beats up the top guy like you were saying. I feel like he's credible now.
That's how you build
it. Yeah. Let's just hope he doesn't get jobbed out next week on Raw.
Let's not say that. What is this? This is not the AEW show. We'll do that. We'll do that next week. Is that next?
Kind's trying to get weird.
Yeah.
I was about to say, Kind saying that was wild.
2 weeks.
Kind's been watching AEW.
25th.
Right, so 2 weeks from now, episode 210 will be our all-in show, and we will get Erica Marini on because I said the next AEW show, Erica will be back. So we will talk to her and get that set up. No, don't say that. I didn't like the Monday Night Messiah, Tony. I don't need it.
I don't think you're supposed to like him, though.
No, like I didn't like the character.
Yeah, that's my least favorite, Seth.
Yeah. No, that wasn't part of the work, brother.
Does Seth factor into the Roman feud? Roman's going face? Seth, what? Tag team. War Games. Roman, Cody, Seth against the Bloodline.
Like the Avengers? Yeah, somebody commented that earlier.
Like, get the big dogs.
Could be Mage. But last thing I want to touch on from Monday Night Raw, I am wearing their shirt right now, which you can get if you scan the QR code that's about to be in the corner. Hold on.
Right here.
Hold on. Let's figure it out. We'll get there. You told me to hold on, so I held on. What was I holding on for?
His finger.
Okay.
No. Are we Odyssey Jones?
Oh yeah.
A quick
that
second.
Happened, and I kind of liked it.
Yeah. Kind mentioned it. Shout out Kind. Interesting. And Xavier Kofi feud.
I like it.
Tell you what, I do too. That Odyssey Jones is causing friction within the New Day, and I think that's what the New Day needs is just to switch up.
I honestly, if Odyssey Jones if this wasn't actually turning into the breakup of New Day, I would like Odyssey Jones not as a replacement for Big E, but in that Big E role. His backstage segments are entertaining. He seems like he's very into it with the New Day. So either way this goes, if this causes a breakup or it doesn't, I am all in with
Xavier Woods breaks off from Kofi and Odyssey. Big E comes back. There's a feud.
Oh, I hope.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back though.
Doesn't feel like it. I know. One can dream, dude. I was so excited for him to be champion.
So was I. I thought he definitely had the potential to have a great run, but Odyssey Jones, a guy that's been drafted 2 times, finally makes his debut on Monday Night Raw. So, yeah, good for him. I think he's going to do some good things on Raw. Gray Brown Hope said, tears were shed. They were everything in that ring, and I said they would be, talking about the Wyatt Six, and they were amazing. So happy for them to shine while paying tribute to Bray and to Luke. Cage says, Odyssey Jones back from his 2-year vacation. Yeah, that was a thing. And Hope, Gray Brown Hope says, I'd like to let it be known that I predicted the downfall of the New Day. I think we all probably saw that coming when the Final Testament were messing around with them.
Yeah, the more they were talking about it on TV, on I'm going to break apart you, it's going to happen at some point.
Writing was on the wall, for sure. But let's talk about the Wyatt Six in-ring debut. First off, the presentation. They obviously were just wrestling as themselves. They came out with the mask, but when it came to the actual wrestling, they were their real-life selves, which I appreciated. I don't know about you guys.
I think it's the best way to present them. because to have, like, again, Cody always talks about the suspension of disbelief. And how long can you suspend disbelief in a really tall bunny guy wrestling in the ring? So to have them be these characters and representations of something, while also being themselves, I thought they worked well as a 3-man team. Have they done house shows and stuff? Like, I thought
don't know.
sure. I thought the chemistry was pretty good, and I love that Dexter Loomis repackage.
Oh yeah.
Mad Max meets Charles Manson. Like, I'm into
It's
that.
so good. Ian, did you enjoy it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And like you said, I think he kind of stood out because it was a completely separate character of what he was. Before Dexter was kind of the slow, methodical, moving guy, doesn't talk.
I thought he tried his best to do that pretty good. Like, I thought he was good at that, but there wasn't much to it. He's not talking.
Exactly. There was a ceiling to that. But now that he's a part of a group, he's a perfect group guy. But my favorite thing about it was it felt like a mixture of a culmination kind of all the Bray Wyatt characters that were had. You had the rocking chair, you had the entrance, the new entrance, you have the new characters, you have the old characters kind of mixed in. This is the perfect like tribute to Bray Wyatt. And for the people, I know I don't even want to like reference it, but like the people that are giving it crap on Twitter for saying you're just using his death as a marketing scheme, go look yourself in the mirror. Like at this
tell him to fuck off like Erica would.
Fuck off.
There you go. He did an impersonation.
Yeah, there he is.
We got one.
Yeah, but let's go to the comments here. Tony, you got to stop with these comments, man. Rumors are swirling that Lars Sullivan returning in the Wise. No thanks. We are out,
I don't
right?
think that's gonna happen.
See ya. KHIQ says Gacy and Loomis seem to mesh great. I do agree with Cage though. I think that could be your tag team champions in the future. Gacy and Loomis. It definitely works. Gray Brown Hope said Joe Gacy showed his time in NXT truly paid off. Yeah, he was grinding down there. And Kind says, I saw the video of Eric and Bo hugging and pointing up to the sky. Made me shed a tear, and sometimes it doesn't feel real that Bray is no longer with us. Kind, that is perfectly said. I think most of us saw that clip, and that's the thing. Ian, you talked about it. It basically is a tribute act, and I think that's what it needed to be. And they're blending in that realism with, storylines, and I think it's just the perfect culmination and the right pieces involved in this Wyatt 6. I firmly believe that this faction is going to work, and now that they're starting as a face faction, Tuck, I think when they eventually turn heel, that's when shit's really going to pick up.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm interested in what the next feud is. You got the American-made Creeds and Gable, which I think is kind of fun.
Great.
It's just, where do you go? Like, what do feuds look like with them? That's what I'm interested in.
My favorite comment that I did see on Twitter though, that actually made me laugh was it was a text conversation, and it said, from a non-wrestling fan, why is the band Slipknot facing the Michigan State wrestling team right now? That made me laugh my ass off. That's wrestling. That's wrestling for you.
Yeah, Wyatt 6 go take out Wesley for betraying the Rascals. Yeah, holy shit! Did you guys see that? Yeah. That caught me off guard. There was some good shit happening.
That was wild.
Oh, yeah. I don't think any of us saw that coming.
No.
Wyatt 6 coming for the new Judgment Day. That might be a winner, boys, because they're betraying family. That's their thing.
I like it.
That's good. And as you can see in the background, though, we are at the point of the show where we have to award the most valuable mark of OTM. Tuck, if they don't know what MVM means, the most valuable mark, why don't you explain?
Most valuable mark. That goes to the person in the chat that is the most valuable mark of the show. So not just...
You just literally described exactly what the...
No, you're doing great.
What do you have to do to earn that title? Ian, you pick it up where you left off.
That's it.
It goes to the commenter that gives the most valuable comments and the ones that spark the most communication and the most topics. And it could even be great debate. So, Tuck, I will let you say who the MVM is.
No
Ooh,
thanks.
Tuck
Pass.
is a joke.
Gags. No, I'm not. That's not my job. I'm not doing that.
Phenomenal description, Brett says. Brett appreciates your description.
Dude,
Don't let them tell you.
I'm a long form storyteller. Okay, I was gonna get there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and new MVM of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, Mr. Four Loco himself, the Great Brown Hope.
Congrats.
My dog.
Good chat.
My dude. No sold us on the Vegas invite.
I think he's in. He seems like he'd be in.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Me, on the other hand, like I said, probably not going to be able to make it.
We'll chat here in an awkward minute.
Yes, we definitely will. But it was, Tuck, an incredible weekend spent with you. Once again, it was great seeing you. You stopped by the week of to hang out with us three to watch Monday Night Raw. We got to meet Augie, which was fantastic. And then getting to spend the weekend with you and the Junkies in Cleveland, man, it was a blast.
Dude, the tweet that you sent out on Monday, it was like, feels like we're still in Cleveland. I was like, man, I wish we were. It was the like least dramatic, most successful, fun, like clean trip, dude. We weren't standing in lines all day. Also went to WrestleCon.
We were never like home.
No,
we were just
out and booping and bopping like pretty early to pretty late, and it was a good time. The late night door dashes hit different, you know.
Look at that. The Great Brown Hope said he's down for Vegas, and I think Tim Vicious might be making an appearance too. It sounds like a lot of people want to go to Las Vegas for WrestleMania, so we might have to organize some main event setup. But Ian, any final remarks before we sign off?
Another great week of wrestling, and we have the AEW pay-per-view coming up too, which I'm very excited to talk about. I have not been able to keep up much with AEW, but
now
after my losing yesterday, now I can. So, I have not lost any traction as a wrestling fan. I'm happy everyone is here to talk with us every single week.
For sure, and just because you didn't win the MVM doesn't mean we don't love you. We love the chat as a whole. You guys are the reason. I tweeted it out today. We can't do our podcast without you.
We got to
steer the ship.
Maybe we got to start bringing in some mid-card titles, you know.
Ooh, now we're like the pop of the night, the comment of the night or whatever. Like
something like that.
Tony said was looking forward to hearing about your trip to SummerSlam. Good show, guys. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. That's how we should sign off every time. But speaking of signing off, Tucky, why don't you send us home?
Ladies and gentlemen, what a great weekend we have, and what a great time it is to be a wrestling fan. Make sure you follow us on the socials at @mainevent_net. That's the Main Event Wrestling Network, not just us, also the Wrestling Junkies. Gags had a great time on their show on Monday, and I had a great time sitting in the waiting room during their announcements and immediately backing out to go on dad duty. Life, you know what I'm saying. But follow the Main Event Network. It's awesome. It's a great time. And the QR code I'm trying to point at, and I'm still getting messed up here, that's going to sit in the WWE shop, okay? Doesn't cost anything more to support us, but every time you make a purchase, we get a little kickback, and that helps us pay the bills. If you also want to help us pay the bills, go to the OnTheMarkWrestlingPodcast.com. We got merch, we got coffee cups, we have things with logos, and potential or two for a new design hitting the shop. Any ECW fans out there, let me know. And then also remember OTM 400 subscriber giveaway. That's going to be on YouTube. So once we get to 400 subscribers, we're giving away an on the mark or an honorary mark t-shirt from OnTheMarkWrestlingPodcast.com to one lucky fan. When we get to 500, we got a Rey Mysterio signed figure. When we get to 600, Ian Garavelli is going to stay up for 24 hours and stream and sell the underwear afterwards. It's going to be weird.
Can you imagine if the lights just turned out? God, that would have been great. Sorry.
We need to do some storytelling within the podcast. Yeah,
like the Junkies shut off our lights and shit.
I'm getting hooked on these action figure wrestling shows, dude. It's been a problem. I am.
What was their channel's name? I can put it out there.
WSC Stage Creator. WSC Stage Creator on YouTube. We watched a 30-man multiverse battle royal that took place on the Bash at the Beach ring in the pool. Zombie Bray Wyatt ended up taking it over Giant Shark. Shrek made an appearance. Undertaker was so fun. But
that's a good idea by Dirk. He said we all should autograph the honorary mark shirt.
Ooh, how would we get that?
We're gonna have to mail that 2,000 miles away. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
that might be tough. But hey, if Dirk wins, we'll do it.
I think we can
Oh,
manage
for sure.
that.
We can,
Yeah,
we
pull
can
it
do that. Yeah.
Dirk, you better be subscribed on YouTube. It's not that hard, people.
It's free.
It's youtube.com/onthemarkwrestlingpodcast.
Ryan can show you how to do it.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, Tuck, let's get out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling
Bye.
Podcast.